everybody. Miasma is back from Japan, and technically I was back on Saturday, and it's Monday when I'm recording this. But I've been trying to make up with sleep and the time difference and everything. It's been a little rough, but I really wanted to make this video while I had the time today. So it's good to be back. I was gone for a week there, and I had a blast. Japan was everything I thought it would be, and then some. And I wanted to share with you guys in this video a little stuff about my experience, and and then I could show you some of the stuff that I bought while I was there. So over the course of the trip, I left last Friday, and so you arrive. It's like from where I live, it's about 18 hours total plane time. So you arrive in Japan I did arrive in Japan last Saturday. And the plane trip sucked. I didn't go like first class or anything. I was just your regular standard economy class flight. And on both of my I flew out to San Francisco, and from San Francisco I went straight to Osaka, Japan, Kansai International Airport. And on my trip from near where I live to San Francisco, every single time I would get the aisle seat, and it really sucked. And if you've ever flown international or anything, or any long flight, you know that the aisle seat kind of blows. I mean, it's not as bad, I suppose, as the very middle seat where you're kind of jammed in against people, but the aisle seat sucks because it's just... I'm a big guy, and I need a lot of room to try and sleep on a plane, which is already difficult for me to begin with. But every time I would start to get comfy and start to sort of fall asleep, the stupid carts would come by, and I was in the back of the plane, so I'm near the bathrooms too. So either the cart was constantly coming by, or people were going to take a piss or whatever. And I mean, it's not those people's fault, but it just sucked. So I think I slept combined all the way going to Osaka about an hour and a half, and yeah, that sucked. But it could have been worse. Hey, at least I got to go to Japan. I don't really mean to be a whiner, but that part of the trip sucked. Getting to Japan, once I got there, it was great. Met up with my buddy RK, who's been featured on his channel. I got to thank him a lot. He was a good guide for me. He was kind of the Google Map direction guide to where we needed to be. And we flew into Osaka and stayed in Osaka for the first couple days at an airport, at a hotel right by the airport, which was pretty expensive, but kind of nice. It's in Izumi Sano, which is a section of Osaka right by the airport. And kind of a cool place. I mean, it's you got a city vibe there, but it's also kind of quiet, which I liked. It's actually one of my favorite places that I was at on the trip, because I'm not the biggest city guy in the world. I'm kind of from the sticks, so city life is kind of a culture shock for me, especially with all the subways and trains and everything that go on. And Izumi Sano had that, but it was also kind of quiet. You could walk around a lot of small kind of store places and stuff. That was kind of cool. And our first night there, they actually had fireworks. So I like to think that they were welcoming me to Japan. And I'm sure there weren't fireworks for any other reason. But, yeah. So Osaka was cool. From Osaka, we made a day trip up to Kyoto. And at Kyoto, we went to Arashiyama. It's a nature kind of park place. And they have... Wicked famously, they have a giant bamboo grove forest thing that this bamboo has to be 20, 30 feet up high. And it was incredible. It was something I really wanted to see for a long time. And it's actually kind of short. If you've never been there before and you're planning on it in the future, it's not as long as you might think. It's only, I would say, about 200 meters or so of bamboo grove, but what you do see is really cool looking, and there's a lot of spots to take photos. Be advised though, I would try and go in the morning. We went in the morning, and there were still a lot of tourists, and I've been told that as it progresses through the afternoon, it gets a lot worse. So there's a lot of photo bombing going on. There's just a lot of people around, and it's understandable. It's a cool place, and the rest of the park itself is actually kind of cool too. There's a lot of places to You can like climb up and see like cool like summit type places. A lot of good photo ops in Arashiyama. Definitely highly recommend that you go there. And from there we went over into Nara, which I believe is its own prefecture as well. And at Nara we went to the Todaji Temple. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. And there's around that is the Nara Deer Park. So if you've ever seen that on YouTube, it's like this place around a famous temple that there's these wild deer, but they're super super friendly to humans and really domesticated in the sense that you can feed them like these crackers that they sell, and they sell these crackers all over the place and stuff like that. They make a ton of money off of it. It's a brilliant idea, but so you can feed them these crackers and stuff, and the deer are wicked friendly, and they'll actually like bow to you in the effort to like get some crackers and stuff like that, which is really cool. But they will swarm you. You'll get like, if you start to feed one, you'll get 3 or 4 coming at you real quick. So, but that was a great time, and also the temple itself was beautiful. A lot of good photo opportunities there. And yeah, it's really cool, I think, to have visited these like really really historic places that have probably been there like. Because, living in America, like, our country really isn't that old. Yeah, America is really cool. I'm not trying to crap on America or anything. But it's just really cool to visit somewhere where, like, the buildings, are like, ancient in comparison. And, yeah. So, after Osaka, we took the bullet train and then a couple other lines up to Nagano, where they had the Olympics, I think, in '98. And Nagano was an interesting place because it's kind of out in like the country, and it took us like 5 hours or so to get there with the trains. But the train ride was cool because you're going through like mountains and countryland and stuff like that, and a bunch of you just see a lot of really cool, beautiful like landscape and stuff. But then you get into Nagano, and it's a city as well, but it's kind of smaller. You'll see a lot more like mom and pop kind of stores versus like your traditional like kombini, which I'll get to in a second. But yeah, Nagano was a cool place. We stayed at a ryokan, which is like an old school style Japanese inn, and they gave us these like really big, extravagant traditional Japanese meals, which I wasn't super into because I'm actually not really big into like Japanese or really Asian food in general. But RK really liked it a lot, and some of the stuff was really good, I have to admit. And the ryokan itself was cool. We got to sleep on like tatami mats and like the like and you could like, sit on the floor and everything, and but it was really cool. And all the doors, like the slidey doors, feel like you're in like a samurai movie and stuff. But it was really cool. So we're in Nagano just for one night. We had planned on visiting one of the temples there, but we kind of didn't have time. So from Nagano, we went into Tokyo, and Tokyo was amazing. But so in Tokyo, we wanted to stay kind of cheap, so we stayed at what's called a capsule hotel. And if you don't know what a capsule hotel is, it is a relatively inexpensive place that you can stay in. That is, your room is kind of just your bed. So it's literally like a pod, like this like square in the wall that you can like climb into. If you some of them you have to like climb up a couple stairs or so on like a rungs on a ladder. Mine was on the floor, so you get this like pod. It's not really that small. Like I said, I'm a big guy. I fit in there pretty comfortably. But you're not gonna. There isn't like there was no TV in mine or anything. And there was a light. There was an alarm clock, and there was a mirror, and there was a plug for my charger. But that was about it. But it fit me and like my backpack in there pretty fine, and it was comfortable, and it was really really inexpensive comparatively. I won't say like the actual prices and stuff, but like about like 3 nights in a capsule hotel will get you like 1 night at like a really nice hotel. And yeah, so I would recommend that. But the only kind of downside is they have to like clean it and stuff. so they want you like out of your capsule and everything between the hours of 10 and 4. So, but if you're like a tourist and you're traveling all, like we didn't really have any problems with that. And plus, there's like a lobby anyway that's for anybody that wants to like hang out in there and stuff like that. There's like vending machines and TVs and places you can charge your devices and stuff, and there's free Wi-Fi. So if you have to, if you have to be inside at that point or whatever, there are areas to be, and it's right in the section. Man, I should have mentioned this. The section that we stayed in was called Ginza in Tokyo. It's actually where I got this shirt. For the Tokyo Ginza Bay Hotel was its name. And you can Google it. It's a really cool place. Everything looked really nice. And it's in a very, Ginza's a very interesting area because there's a lot of people going through there. And it's very, high classy, kind of like hoity-toity kind of people. And I don't mean that in an entirely negative way, but just like you see a lot of people in like dressy clothes and stuff like that, and it's kind of cool to see. And there's a lot of bright lights, a lot of big signs, a lot of really good restaurants and bars and stuff like that. Me and RK actually got to go to Bar High Five, which is one of the best regarded bars in all of the world. You can Google that as well, Bar High Five. And if you're ever in Ginza, highly recommend it. That place is amazing. That was the first alcohol I've had in quite some time, and I'm really glad that I went there just because the atmosphere and the employees and everything is just a really cool place. It's like Ginza in general. And also while we were in Tokyo, we went to Ikebukuro on a day trip. And Ikebukuro was cool. I'm a big Durarara fan, so I looked like a major nerd and specifically wore my Durarara shirt into Ikebukuro. I had to go where Izaya and Shizuo and everybody hangs out. I was looking for Celti, the headless black rider, but didn't find her. But Ikebukuro is a cool place. You'll see some manga and stuff like that. Some shops. It's kind of like a smaller Akihabara, with a lot more there's a lot of yaoi stuff too. I think it kind of has a corner on that market as well. Not that you won't find that in Akihabara too, but so Ikebukuro was cool. I'm gonna tell you this cool mall that they had there and one of the manga shops. I picked something up at, and and then we also went to Akihabara, and Akihabara was probably my number one target on this trip that I wanted to go to, just because I'm a huge anime fan, and it's kind of like this mecca that a lot of people want to go to. And while it was very cool, I'm not gonna crap on Akihabara really, but Akihabara is really cool. I recommend at least taking a visit, but it was a little underwhelming and overwhelming in this sense. So underwhelming in terms of, I guess I had certain expectations, and I was really hoping, and I guess maybe I was wrong in thinking this, but I was really hoping that there'd be more classical anime stuff. I would just like to have seen one store, and maybe there is one and I missed it. Someone in the comment sections would be like, "You didn't go to this store," but sorry, man. But I just didn't see anything. I saw nothing that was bebop or even I don't know, something kind of recent or something like that. Even Durarara, I didn't really see much Durarara stuff or Bakano or I don't know. Even Evangelion wasn't some stuff, but not a whole lot, or I don't know. Just this. I guess I wanted to see the shows that I like. And while I did see some stuff, I'm going to warn you: if you go to Akihabara, you are going to see a lot of Love Live. If you don't know what Love Live is, it's this school idol show that's one of the most popular anime in all of Japan. And I don't really get it. Haven't seen it. Maybe I'll check it out someday. Probably not. But it's really, 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 really popular in Japan. To the point where It's on like billboards and like buses and friggin' like everything. They got Love Live everything. If you're into Love Live, you are going to like really love Akihabara. But yeah, I mean, I did like Akihabara. Right, as I say this, they didn't really have Evangelion stuff. Right when you get out of like the train station, one of the first like big ass signs that you see is this cool Evangelion like the side of a wall is like painted with the Evangelion stuff, and I thought that was really cool. But after that, it's kind of like Love Live all over the place, which I wasn't really into. But yeah, I mean, I would just like to have seen more, or I guess at least more like mature anime stuff. But I guess that's kind of a comment on anime in general. But you know, maybe I had some wrong expectations going in. I'm just kind of lucky I didn't really see anybody walking around with body pillows as I expected. Not really like cosplay kind of people. We also it was kind of like a weekday, so I guess it was probably quiet for that kind of place. In Japan, it seemed like just as a culture, everybody's kind of like more like chill and relaxed about public demeanor. I would say everybody's kind of like in their own business to the point where like you don't really like talk to strangers or anything at all. Like everybody on like buses and stuff or trains are like really really quiet, or they're just like on their phones or sleeping on the train, which is really really common. I was surprised, so I was always like, what if you missed your stop, man? Like, but I guess they're kind of used to it. But yeah, I think I really should have wrote down, but I'm pretty sure that's a lot of the spots that we went to. We did see. I'm not gonna get a lot of the names right, but in like Kyoto and Nara, like a lot of like cool like temple stuff, which was interesting. I wanted this trip to be partially historic and partially nerd shit, and it was, and I had a great time, and I would definitely do it again. None of these places I would say completely avoid, even Akihabara. But I will say that like while Akihabara was my number one going in, I kind of think I liked some parts of. I think I kind of liked like the historical stuff a little better. I think I kind of enjoyed Nara and Arashiyama a little better, surprisingly, because I hate going outside because the sun burns my skin. But yeah, it was a really good time. But now I'll stop rambling and I'll get to the stuff that I bought. All this nerd stuff. I did buy stuff that wasn't nerd stuff, but I feel like maybe it didn't really matter for the channel. But I guess we'll start with one moment. So this is a Kimi no Nawa, or Your Name, art book. And let me take it out of this thing. And I found this. This was an Akihabara. This is all gonna be like really out of order of like how I bought it, but who cares? But yeah, we'll flip through some of this. Oh wow, But I love Makoto Shinkai. If you're new to the channel, I talk about him. He's like probably my favorite like director. I'll admit not everything he's done has been like really perfect, but I think he has the best like art style in the game, and everything he does just looks really really good. So I had to pick up this art book, and there's writing in it too. There's like interviews, I think, but I can't read Japanese, so which was one thing. Oh, I also wanted to comment on. I studied a little bit of Japanese in the last few months or so, trying to anticipate for this trip, and I will say this: it wasn't super necessary, because a majority of people know like a little bit of English, and like almost all the signs have like an English equivalent to it or like a translation on it, and even like the train announcers, not on every line, but on like the JR lines, like the main lines, they have like English announcements and stuff like that. So don't be too scared of a language barrier. I would highly recommend learning some, because when you do speak it, the people there, you get a real sense of like appreciation that you made an effort, because very often I would get the feeling that they looked at me, and when I would speak Japanese to them, they'd just be so surprised that like I actually like tried, and like I'm a foreigner and I actually cared or whatever. But yeah, just don't be ignorant about it, is all I'm saying, I guess. Another thing, JR Pass. You have to get that because that's going to save you a ton of money. It's like a couple $100, but it's like a pass for trains. The JR line is a certain line in Japan, and it's a lot of like to the major places that you would probably want to go. And not every line is going to be accessible with it, but a majority of them are, and you save a shit ton of money. Trust me, that is the best value I had in this trip. But JR Pass, you have to get that. Now back to some other stuff. I really wanted, like Akihabara. I didn't see a lot of like wall scrolls or like poster kind of stuff. Maybe I don't know if that's just not as big in Japan or something. Or I probably missed a store, I guess. But there wasn't really much along the lines of what I really wanted. But I didn't want to go home without anything. And besides Love Live, I saw a lot of stuff for Grand Blue Fantasy. And this actually has two sides. And, I know nothing really about Grand Blue Fantasy other than I saw Bob Samurai do a 2-episode reaction to it a while back. And I kind of remember that it was like about like a game on like your phone, I think. But aside from that, I know like nothing. And the art style looks kind of cool. And so I figured, me and RK kept saying like, man, we've seen this all over the place and the art style looks cool. I guess we'll have to check it out. So, I got the poster now, and maybe I'll remember to check it out someday. Who knows? But, so there's that. And then I also picked up, this is all still Akihabara stuff, I believe. Durarara soundtracks. Or it's like 2 parts, I think, because I think technically it's both season 2. Yeah, it's Durarara X2. Again, if you're new to the channel, Durarara is one of my favorite shows of all time. So, I saw that and I had to pick it up. Because once again, there wasn't really a lot of like soundtracks I'd be into at Akihabara. But those I was. These 2 things are from Ikebukuro. So, first is a little nanoblock Pokemon Gengar thing. And I haven't set this up yet, but when I do, I'm going to put it probably somewhere on this desk by my computer and everything. Yeah, I mean, I really like Gengar. Real big fan of the color purple. If you can't tell by like the Gyre logo and everything. My whole PC setup, I probably should like look at this more someday. But I do have a video on my keyboard. But my whole PC setup here is like black and purple themed. And, it's my favorite, like, color scheme. Gengar is my number 2 favorite Pokemon. Number 1 is Muck. And I have a reason for that. You see, with Muck, you could just evolve a Grimer. Now, with Gengar, and this is going to sound wicked lonely, and with Gengar, you need a friend. Okay, you gotta raise a Gastly. You gotta raise a Ghastly and a Haunter. And then you gotta trade with somebody. And, growing up, I didn't have anybody I wanted to trade with, so I was stuck with a Haunter. So I always looked at Gengar like this, I couldn't get him, like, it was just, I can't get to you, but you look really cool. So he's my number 2. But, I got the nanoblock for him. One of my favorite things that I bought, one thing I was really, really looking for, something you cannot get in English as of yet, is Sangatsu no Lion, or March Comes in Like a Lion. I got Volume 1. It's in Japanese, though. So, but I know, and I won't really be able to read it. Maybe this will help me like learn some more, I guess. But it was one of my favorite shows from 2016, and it's maybe ever. It's probably in my top list, I would say. I don't know where I would really put it. Season 2 is coming out next month, I believe, and highly, highly recommend March Comes in Like a Lion for a lot of reasons. I have a whole video about it. Please check that out. That was also Ikebukuro. This is... Oh, I haven't even opened this yet. New Type Anime Magazine from Akihabara with Code Geass characters in the front. And I picked this up. This is the first thing I bought in Akihabara, actually. I don't know. You don't see a lot of anime mags anymore these days, especially in the United States. So I felt like, you know, I gotta pick this up. You know, it'd be a cool, like, thing to, memento, as it were, of you know, the times I had in Japan. And, you know, check out, you know, maybe it's all Love Live articles, and maybe it's just gonna make me laugh. But, hopefully not. Let's see. 2 more things. One was this cool, sorry I haven't taken a lot of this out, by the way, guys. But this is a cool-ass, 2-sided Hunter x Hunter poster of Kurapika, who is my favorite person in Hunter x Hunter, character in Hunter x Hunter. I'm not the hugest Hunter x Hunter fan, especially towards, like, the latter parts of the show, which is going to trigger people because it's the Chimera Ant arc and everyone's supposed to like it, but I don't. It's okay, but I don't know. With Hunter x Hunter, I like Kurapika. I wish he got more screen time. I wish the show was kind of about him instead of that guy who just punches people and hits them with fishing poles. But that's just me. Yeah, before I trigger any more people and hate comments and such, the last thing that I picked up, hopefully I don't mess it up, is Mokochi figure from Watamode. Again, Watamode, probably one of the top 3 mangas I've ever read. I still have yet to finish it. But the anime is really good as well. I have a review of that on this channel too. Please check that out. But I think that the manga is better. Please check out Watamode. It's really funny. The anime might not be for everyone, but I think a lot more people would be into the manga because it's more like for the lulz and just like it's a lot like every chapter is like a lot fresher of a feel rather than sitting there for the kind of boring anime that they made. But yeah, Mokochi or Tomoko. One of my favorite anime characters. And, so pretty much that's, I think, everything that I really bought, related to, like, anime, manga, and stuff like that. But, yeah, highly recommend going to Japan. It was a blast. Time difference is pretty crazy and everything. But, if you guys have any questions about any of the places that I visited, once again, Osaka, Arashiyama, Kyoto, Nara, Ginza, Tokyo, Ikebukuro, and Akihabara. Any questions about any of that, or like, if you'd like to see me delve a bit more into like how like people like acted in public and stuff like that to like maybe like a foreigner around or whatever. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them down below. And thanks for watching, guys. As always, this is Miasma from Gyro Media, signing out.